these are some principles that I used in my cleaning company. We had a cleaning company for about 6.5 years. My wife and I sold it last year for a six-figure profit, and so we're really thankful we were able to do that. And a lot of the reason why we could do that is because our marketing was so systematized and our operations were systematized, and it was predictable, and we were able to sustain it over the long term. So it was really a big blessing, and a lot of why we grew how we grew the business is based on FRAP. And some of y'all might be wondering, what in the world FRAP is. So I'm going to be explaining that. But to kind of give you uh, an overview or an introduction to it, so whenever we started getting really serious about, for example, our automations in our business, our follow-up systems, reaching out to past customers, making sure that we were really talking to leads and not being too busy to talk to leads whenever they'd come in. We began to get really serious about our online presence. And we literally 9x'd our revenue in a matter of 4 years. We went from $8,500 a month in revenue to about, I think, 34,000. I'm sorry, I messed up my story. We went from 8,500 to 34,000 in 1 year, in 12 months, from implementing a lot of the principles in FRAP. And then we ended up 9xing it. We ended up doing almost 70,000 per month in revenue just in 4 years' time. So we went from 8,500 to almost 70,000 in 4 years. And really, honestly, 90% of that is based on the principles I'm going to teach you tonight in FRAP. So I know it worked in my business. I'm not just preaching something that, we got out of thin air or that I heard some guy talk about. So this is real stuff. It really works. And honestly, some of the things I'm going to be teaching you are even better than what I had access to at the time. So without further ado, we'll get started. And I'm just keeping an eye on our Facebook feed over here in case anybody joins over there as well. We're live on Facebook, so feel free to share it if you're on there. But we're going to get started. So I'm going to share my screen with you and get into the lesson. All right. So can y'all see my screen okay? Yeah? Cool. Awesome. Perfect. So, and honestly, the things that I'm sharing with you tonight, you can take and you can begin to implement this in your business and see results right away. If you do want some help, we've got a free school community that you can join called Kingdom Business Profits. You can just message me and I'll get you access to that. And then we also do have a program if you want some done for you help where you're not sure how to do this by yourself and you want us to help you along, then we can do that as well. So, all right, so let's get started. So the FRAP formula is how you can double your take-home profits in 12 months or less without spending money on ads. And that's like the crazy part. And so, like I said, Josh has helped over 100 of his clients become millionaires, and this impacted my business in a huge way. And we were able to 9x it in 4 years and sell it for a six-figure profit. So let's talk about what FRAP is. So FRAP is an acronym that stands for frequency, referrals, average ticket, and pricing. Okay, and it's really, really simple. But honestly, this is the type of stuff that, like a private equity company, if a big corporation were to come in and buy your company today, this is what they would do in your company. And they know like what creates leverage in a company, how to make money, and how to get more profit out of the company. And so this sounds really simple, and I'm going to give you some real world examples. And it is simple, and you can actually, the beauty of it is you can implement a lot of this like in a weekend. You could sit down in a weekend and plan out, or an hour or two, and plan out how you're going to increase your frequency. So let's talk about how we can do this. We're going to use some real world examples. But I wanted to go back really quick because the reason why this is so important is usually business owners, especially service business owners, we tend to operate at a lower margin than a lot of other businesses. And we suffer from a lack of oxygen or profit. Cash is king, right, in business. And so the Small Business Administration in the United States says that 81% of small business owners are 2 weeks away from overdrafting their business checking accounts. Well, that's a problem because not only does it, put some stress on you as the owner, where maybe the business is not able to thrive as much, but also you're not able to set aside money for growth. You're not able to set aside money for emergencies, maybe to pay off debt, send your kids to college. And so what we want to do is look at how we can increase your actual profit. Because how many of you know revenue is for vanity, profit is for sanity? So it's kind of like, who cares how much money you're bringing in the door? If you don't have enough profit for it to really be meaningful, then it's kind of meaningless. So, and then also, of course, we all know that inflation has gone crazy. I don't know what it's like in the UK, but here in the US, inflation is pretty bad. And I think a lot of people are struggling from that. And so we have to stay ahead of the curve in our business. And you have to put your business first, your employees first, your family first. And so we're going to talk about some very real ways how to do that. Okay. So again, FRAP stands for frequency, referrals, average ticket, and pricing. So let's look at we're going to take a real world business and see how we can increase these 4 levers by just 15% each, and you're going to be amazed at the numbers and how it's all going to shake out. So let's say you've got a $600,000 business, and right now you're taking home $100,000 in profit. And maybe you're not even doing that, but let's just use this as an example. Let's say, using conservative numbers, that you increase your frequency, referrals, average ticket, and pricing by 15% each. So we're going to stack these on top of each other and compound them. And honestly, if you focus on just one of these areas, you can easily do better than 15%. Because, I mean, raise your hand if you're like me, you're probably not even asking for referrals, right? Or if you are, it's not systematized. You don't have like a true system around it. And so if we can increase that, I mean, if you just start asking for referrals, well, that's like 100% increase, or it might be 50% increase depending on what you're doing. So let's look at how this shakes out with the math. So let's say that your annual revenue goal was $1 million in revenue, okay? And your base revenue is $600,000. Well, that gives you a gap of 400,000. Your base would be like what you're going to do in business without really trying. You've got X amount of customers right now and you're doing that much in revenue. So we've got a gap of $400,000 that we want to close. Okay. Now we could do what most business owners do and just throw a bunch of money at marketing and try this and try that and sign up for this magazine and run a bunch of Google ads and hire a marketing agency for $5,000 or more. And I've done that and I've gotten like 0 return, right? And so, or we can do it the really smart way and we can just focus on FRAP and increasing that. So if we increase our frequency by just 15%, that brings us up to $690,000 in revenue. And then referrals, if we increase those by 15%, it's $793,000, $793,500. Average ticket, if we increase our average ticket by bundling our services together, creating some clever packages, that brings us to $912,525. And then finally, if we increase our prices and or practice supply and demand pricing, then that takes us over the $1 million mark. So $1 million, $1,049,403. Just by increasing these each by 15%, which honestly, most of us can do even better than that. So there's a lot of opportunity. Okay. And this can apply to honestly any type of business that you're in, because you're going to notice everything I'm going to cover here literally has to do with just talking to people. And it's being more intentional, more systematized about how we're talking to people. And so with these 4 moves, a $600,000 business is now doing over $1 million. And a lot of that additional $449,403 is going to be pure profit. And you'll see why. Because we didn't spend any money to make these changes and to bring in that additional revenue, which means we didn't spend on marketing. We're going to raise our prices in a clever way, and that's actually going to end up being way more profit for the business or for you as the business owner. Okay, so let's dive in and take a look at what some of these look like. I'm going to go one by one through frequency, referrals, average ticket, and pricing. So frequency, of course, is how often your customers buy from you. Now, if you're a roofer where you just like sell one roof, probably one time, it doesn't apply. But for most businesses, we can increase our frequency. And according to Forbes, acquiring a new customer can cost 5 to 7 times more than selling to an existing customer. What's really interesting too is existing customers spend 67% more on average than those that are new to your business, and they have a far higher close rate. So if somebody's bought from you before, they trust you, but they're not doing business with you right now. Let's say you have got a maid service and they bought from you one time and maybe they didn't want recurring, but if you follow up with them throughout the year very strategically, then the likelihood of them coming back and buying from you again is actually way higher. In my company, many times we had people who were never on a recurring schedule, but they used us 3 to 4 times a year, and it was very predictable, but it was because we were reaching out to them and we were maintaining that relationship and that communication. So what does it mean if we increase your frequency? Well, in addition to getting new customers, your profit margins will increase dramatically if you put more focus into selling more to your existing customers. Even if you do have let's say you've got recurring services like a maid service. I'll just use that as an example again, or dog walker, things like that, or skincare. If you've got like subscriptions that are going out, if you communicate with them more often, you have better chance of upselling. So like in our maid service, we would run a campaign 3 times a year where we would upsell people to a deep clean, our recurring customers. And many people bought from us twice a year, like every 6 months. Some people just bought once a year, but we scheduled those in our slow seasons so that we were able to bring in a bunch of cash into the business without spending money on marketing. And we'd just send people some emails, and it was amazing. They would just, they just loved it. So one of the most effective ways to increase your frequency is something called a rainmaker campaigns. Write down rainmaker campaign, and I'm going to walk through with you how to set up a rainmaker campaign in your business. And this can easily, depending on your average ticket, it can easily generate $10,000 to $100,000. I've seen pressure washing businesses generate $60,000 in revenue in like 3 days using a rainmaker campaign. It all depends on your average ticket, of course. But some other examples, people in our coaching community have made $7,000 in their first week with a carpet cleaning business. One guy made $32,000 in a week with his pressure cleaning business. One of my students made $11,000 with her maid service business just by running a rainmaker campaign. So let's look at what this looks like. So a few key things, few ingredients is we always want to have what we call a logical justification for the campaign. So what you don't want to do is you don't want to email your past customers or even your current customers and say, hey, we need money again. Come buy our stuff. Instead, you want a logical justification. So a logical justification might be, Something about the season. Today happens to be National Coffee Day, and so you could just reach out and say, "Hey, I, you know, I know you love coffee as much as I do, and because of that, we're celebrating National Coffee Day by offering 10% off one of our, our top to bottom deluxe clean, or we're throwing in a free fridge cleaning, or we're gonna wipe down your coffee maker like never like I don't know, make a fun little thing where you like make their coffee maker just look amazing or something. Or maybe you give them a free bag of coffee. I don't know. But a logical justification, right? If they book a thing with you or if they order a certain product with you, you're gonna make sure that they get this extra value, and that's your logical justification. You can use fun holidays and things like that, or maybe you bought some new equipment or you hired help, and you want to, you know you need work for them or whatever. But use an excuse to reach out, and then you want to choose a small sample list to start with, and I'll explain what I mean by that in a second. And then you want to create a unique offer with special extra bonuses and then test it. So for example, again, going back to the cleaning example, what could you include? Or if you're selling products, what, like, create a package. People love packages. And many times people will buy the package. They'll pay $100 for something when they really just wanted, this one $10 product that was included in it. That's really what sold them. And that's how we are as people. We don't buy based on logic, we buy based on emotion. So and then we want to make sure that you always put a limit on it. So limited spots available, or it's only available until a certain date, to make sure that they take action. Okay. If you're doing cleaning, for example, you can say we've only got 8 spots available for the next week. Make sure to book your spot now. And that can really get people to take action, especially if they having company coming over and they need their house cleaned right away. Okay. So this is a sample of how you could set up a Rainmaker campaign. Is on day one, so you're gonna do 3 days, and you're gonna do 3 touches each day. So it's a total of 9 touches that you're doing. And for some of you, you might feel like, gosh, that's a lot. It's way more than I've ever marketed before. But this is actually the way you want to do it, because people get busy, they forget about us, and we need to constantly be in front of them to remind them. So on day one, we're going to send them an email in the morning, and then follow up with a ringless voicemail. There's lots of services that do things like that for you. Go High Level happens to be one of them. And then follow up with a text message, maybe in the afternoon. Hey, I just, sent you a voicemail and email. I just wanted to let you know about a special we have going on. And then day 2, same thing. Another email, ringless voicemail, text message. Day 3, same thing. And they're all just going to be slightly different. And I'm going to actually show you some examples of how you would do this, so you know kind of what to say whenever you're setting something like this up. Excuse me. All right, so first we've got our logical justification, sample list. We're going to test it, and then we're going to iterate and scale it. So, for example, on day 1, you might send a voicemail that sounds like, "Hey, sorry I missed you. This is David from ABC Cleaning Company. I'm not sure if you're aware, but today's National Coffee Day, and so we're running a campaign, and we're giving away a free bag of coffee if you book this special cleaning that we have over here. Anyways, don't stress about calling me back. We'll get this figured out for you, get you scheduled, and actually, I'm going to try and shoot you over an email and text too, in case that's easier." And then, "Oh yeah, I'm calling from such and such ABC Cleaning Company, and we so appreciate your past business and are excited to help you out again soon. If I don't call back, no worries. I'll try again tomorrow in case that's more convenient for you." So this is really important here at the end. Whenever you're doing a campaign like this, you want to let people know that you're going to be following up with them multiple times. What it does is it increases the response rate. It gets them to take action. It makes sure that they they either tell you yes or no if they want it or not. And that can be really, really helpful just for overall engagement. And then this will be a sample text. Hey Frank, not sure if you're aware, but today's National Coffee Day, and we've got a special going on. That's the reason for the text today. I'll try to shoot you both an email and a voicemail in case that works better for you. Talk soon. Same thing with the email. I just sent you a quick voicemail and text. I wasn't sure which method you prefer. Let me know your thoughts when you have time. Talk soon. I actually did something similar to this before this call. I don't know if you guys noticed, but see how it's so simple, and it's not like a long drawn out text where I'm pitching my services. It's more of just contacting them, getting in front of them, letting them know you have something going on. I mean, this one, the text is 4 lines long. This email is like 4 lines as well. So don't overthink it. What you want to do is you don't want to come across as being super corporate. A lot of times when we're a small business, we want to sound like the big businesses, and so we make ourselves sound more fancy than we really need to. And actually, you want to play it down a little bit because people do business with people they know, like, and trust. And so when you actually tone down the language a little bit and just keep it really, really simple, people do actually tend to trust you more. So if you ran a Rainmaker campaign, and let's say that this easily gets you a 15% increase in frequency of purchases overall, that adds $90,000 in revenue. And again, much of that is going to go to your bottom line because you didn't spend money on marketing to acquire those purchases, and those people are more likely to buy from you. Okay, so make sense? Yeah, cool. And you can use any kind of automation to set this up. High level is my favorite. There's lots of them out there. You can even use MailChimp for things like this. But my favorite is go high level. Okay, so let's talk about referrals. Now, I wish I could think of a different word for referrals because a lot of times people's brains tend to shut off and our eyes gloss over and we're just like, referrals. That's the most boring thing we could possibly talk about, right? But it's actually not, because if it makes you more money, it should be exciting. And it's interesting. Josh actually used, I'm going to show you guys the exact script that Josh used to use in his company. He had a window cleaning company. They did almost $200,000, not per year, but per month before he sold it over 10 years ago. And this is how they 10x their referrals using a 6-touch system. And I'm going to show you exactly what that looks like. So can you just imagine for a second that right now you're getting an average of 1 referral per month for your product or service, okay? Well, what if you got 10 referrals every month? And we know that referrals are more likely to buy from us because they trust the person that referred them. So what if 8 out of 10 of those people booked with you? Like, what would that do to your business? It would probably be insane, right? I mean, not only would it increase your revenue, but your profit would just go through the roof because they're going to stay with you longer. They're going to refer people to, uh, and you're not having to spend money to acquire those customers. All right, so let's look at how this works. So here's how we're going to do it. Number one is we're going to wow and delight first. Make sure your service is actually really, really good. And then number two, we're going to use a really clever script, and we're going to repeat it, and we're going to have no tolerance for deviation, because many times what happens with things like this is people don't take it seriously and they'll start deviating from the script, or they forgot to mention it, and blah, blah, blah. And then it falls apart and you're not making more money. And so let's look at what this looks like. So again, this was for a window cleaning company in Flint, Michigan, which is actually a pretty small town and a pretty poor town. And Josh was able to do $200,000 a month in revenue in his window cleaning business. So that's pretty amazing, right? So the first time that they ask for a referral was before the person even hires you, okay? So here's what you can do. So you get a new lead on the phone, your staff picks up the phone, and let's say, like give the quote, talk about everything that's included, and then at the end of the call, let's say, hey, before you go, can I ask you a favor? We're a small family-owned local company. We rely on referrals from good people like you. We promise to over-deliver for you. So if you have a weird uncle or a crazy neighbor or even a regular neighbor, you could probably both save a bunch of money if we service your properties at the same time. So just keep that in mind. Okay. And so right before they hang up the phone, you're putting a little seed. Okay. Now, obviously, most people are not going to be like, oh, yeah, I have 3 referrals for you right now. But that's not the point. You're planting a seed in their mind to be thinking about people. And then we're going to keep saying it and keep saying it and keep saying it so that eventually they're going to give you a referral, especially after you've serviced a job. Um, and then what'll happen next is someone will go to the house, give them an estimate, and when they're at the estimate, they'll say, "Hey, can you do us a favor? We're a small local company. Our kids go to school with your kids, and all of our technicians are paid a living wage. We rely really heavily on referrals. So if you have a crazy uncle or a weird neighbor, could you have them give us a call? It would mean a whole lot. Plus, you'd both save money. Okay, so give them an incentive. Maybe you can give them a tiny little discount for doing the business together or something like that. Then the crew or your cleaners or whoever would do the work. Make sure you over deliver. You want to have some baked in over delivery in there. And then at the end, ask them a simple question. Did we meet or exceed your expectations today? If the homeowner says yes, which most of the time they will, then you say, great, can you do us a favor? We're a small family owned local business, and you just repeat the same thing. And so what happens is you might feel like it's repetitious, but actually what's happening is there's oftentimes a different person in the whole process saying it, or you could find a way if it's just you in the company, you can find a way to say it differently each time. But the point is you want to get across that we're a family-owned local company. We're just right there in the hustle with you. We rely on referrals. So in other words, like if you want us to stay in business, we need some referrals, and and then just plant those seeds, over deliver, and then they're a lot more likely to generate some referrals for you. And again, that's way more profitable business than if you're doing advertising on Google or Facebook. And so so I hope that makes sense. I hope you can see how powerful it is. Again, Josh specifically used this to 10x his referrals um, just by asking those 6 times. Oh, and then I forgot to mention we've asked 3 times at this point, and then the next day and this is really really key. We did this in our company, and it's hugely valuable. After you service a client for the first time, you always want to give them a call the next day. And don't give them a call like right after their service or something. Give it 24 hours or call them the next morning so they've had some time to kind of like simmer on the quality of everything that you did for them. Or, and in your case, like for skincare, same thing. Like, let's say they've had a week to try it or something, and then you call them and be like, hey, how was that? Tell me about your experience with that product. Oh my gosh, that sounds amazing. I've had amazing experience with this other product. Have you tried? You might look at, if you like that one, you might look at trying this other one as well. Um, you know, just talk to them about their whole routine. So, uh, so you ask again, did we meet or exceed your expectations on that follow-up call? If they say yes, and you say, great, can you do us a favor? And, repeat the script again. And so then after that, you can send a postcard. There's a lot of services that'll do that for you. If you're small, you can just have some postcards on your desk that you send to new customers every time you get a new customer. You could send them a gift in the mail. You could send them, all kinds of things. And so that's how you can do it a total of 6 times. And it's super simple. but it works like magic. All this that I'm sharing with you today is incredibly simple, but it really, really works. And literally, I've seen how it worked in my own company. I know Josh has used this in many other companies. In fact, I was talking with them recently, and they were had a VA agency, and that they were working with, and they were doing $2.5 million in revenue. So not a small company. They started to implement FRAP, and they went to 4 million in about 12 months. So I mean, you can see how powerful this is. Simple stuff, right? Super simple, but it's just a matter of doing it. All right, so we used frequency to take us from 600,000 to 690,000. Now, if we increase our referrals by 15%, that takes us up to $793,500. Okay, and again, a lot of that's going to be profit because we didn't have to spend money to acquire the customer, and they're going to stay with us longer. They're more likely to buy from us, and I guarantee you, they're more likely to generate referrals for you. All right. Are you guys getting it? Are you guys seeing the power of FRAP? Awesome. I love it. It's amazing. It really works. So next, let's talk about average ticket. Now, this is a really, really interesting one, and I want you to just really open up your brain because average ticket is many times way overlooked by service business owners. And let's talk about how we can implement it, how we can increase your average ticket. So we're going to talk about increasing the amount of dollars you collect whenever you get a brand new shiny customer. And that's really important for several reasons. It'll cut down on your marketing costs. Many times if people, the more they spend with you, they actually become more loyal, which is interesting. So we can do this by doing upsells. We can do order bumps. For products, we can do selling packages versus selling services, and so much more. So, if somebody wants to buy a product from you, what you do to increase your average ticket is you, again, kind of like the referral script, you make sure that you follow a script to always mention this, one of your other most popular products or something that you believe everyone could benefit from. And it's something that you believe in. You're not just trying to get more money, you're trying to serve them. I mean, selling is serving, right? And if you have something that they need or that could benefit them greatly, you always want to mention it. You always want to tell them about it. I'm sure you guys have heard this before, but just imagine if you have the cure to cancer and you didn't tell anybody about it, right? Like if people found out, they would think you're a terrible person. Well, likewise, if we have something that can help people and we're not willing to tell people about it, we're actually holding it to ourselves, and that's kind of selfish. So instead, we want to tell people about it. Selling packages versus selling services is really, really important. So if you're a cleaning service, for example, you don't want just to be like, this is how much it is to get your house cleaned. Instead, you want to say, well, we've got a few different options to choose from. We've got the good option, we've got the better option, and we've got the best option, or you can do basic and premium and deluxe or whatever you want to call it. And you want to bake in different bonuses and extras that make your service more valuable, if that makes sense. And then what you can do is you can justify a higher price for a higher perceived value, but maybe it doesn't cost you very much to actually deliver on it. Does that make sense? So like, for example, with the maid service, let's say maybe with let's say you have a basic deep clean and then a deluxe deep clean and a premium deep clean. And in the premium deep clean, you include, fridge cleaning and oven cleaning, washing the windows and, vacuuming or wiping down all the blinds and shutters or who knows what, and you bake in the cost of those things. Now, those things might only cost you $50 to $100 more to deliver, but maybe you charge $250 for it. Well, that extra $150 is pure profit. And if you do that, 10 times a month, Well, that's $1,500 extra in profit that you could be using towards your business. So that's just one example. Let's look at this a little bit deeper. The ingredients to increase your average ticket is you want to use some proprietary language. You want to have some limited time bonuses, and then you just need some courage to go for it, to let people know about this, to increase your price a little bit, to build these packages out. Okay. A limited time bonus is really cool because it incentivizes people to buy right now before the thing expires. So you can be like, for a limited time only, when you buy this, we'll also throw in this, right? And you see stuff like this all the time on TV and different things, and that's what they're doing. They're increasing their average ticket. Or for example, when you're at the supermarket, you get all your groceries, right? And then you get to the front and you have to stand in line, and there's a Coke right there that you kind of want. You've been out all day, you're hungry, you see granola bar. The Coke costs like $3, the granola bar costs $1.50, and each of them costs like 10 cents to manufacture. Well, they just increase their profit by offering you things that are a high perceived value, but cost them almost nothing to deliver and to sell to you. And they've increased their profit greatly. So you see this everywhere. If you think about business and commerce, this kind of stuff is everywhere, and we need to use it in our services as well. All right, so let's say, for example, we're going to use a gutter cleaning example. So let's say company A gives a quote to clean your gutters for $200. They come by, you say, how much is it to clean my gutters? And they're like, they look at the house, $200. Take it or leave it. That's kind of the message that we get when we do it that way. But company B comes by and they give you a quote of $300 to clean your gutters, but you don't just get your gutters cleaned, you're getting the Super Saver Gutter Cleaning Protection Bundle. Let's look at what this looks like. So instead of just, here it is, here's how much it is to clean your gutters, we want to stack our services, and let's say you give them a free gutter inspection report, a hand debris removal process, all debris is bagged up and moved off site, high pressure rinse with water where they flush all the downspouts, final walk around inspection, and then a better than money back guarantee. Okay, so like all this stuff's included. So which one do you think you would buy? Would you buy the one for 200, or would you buy the one that provides a lot more peace of mind, an inspection, a guarantee, all these things? We're more likely to buy all this. Now, the guy who company A, he might do most of this stuff, and he might even have it. Maybe he even has a better service, but you would never know. And you're going to buy from company B because you know what you're getting, And so whenever you want to take your services, and in order to build a bundle or a package, you want to list out the things that you already do in your service. Okay. So, for example, let's say you use microfiber cloths in your cleaning. Well, microfiber cleans up to 99.9% of household germs and bacteria without harmful chemicals. Most people don't know that. So it's actually way higher value than if you use cotton. It also removes dust and allergens from the home. And so you just list that as one of your value stacks, and that's part of the premium service that you provide. And then maybe all your employees or you yourself are, highly trained, skilled, and background checked. You want to list things like that. If you're selling a product, what kind of ingredients does your product have? And you always make it a big deal. Um, and so that's how we build out our packages. We list it. Many times we don't think about, as business owners, the things that we already do and offer in our packages that actually are very valuable, and we actually kind of undervalue them because we just don't think about them. Like in my company, we made a big deal that we were the #1 rated cleaning company in the area. So we always said that, and that has a legitimate value to it. And then something else you can do, let's say you build out a premium package where it has all the whiz bang stuff, or a premium product bundle where it just is like everything, you get the whole kitchen sink. Um, Even if only 3 out of 10 people take you up on your higher ticket offer, it can make a big difference to your bottom line. Plus, we call this price marinating. And whenever you're offering your bundles or services, you always want to offer your highest price product first. Now, most people are not going to buy it, and that's not the point. The point is to price anchor them or price marinade. And what'll happen is we come down to then like sort of the medium tier. And most people might buy that, or we'll come down to the basic tier and some people will buy that. But the point is they'll buy from you more often than if you just say, here's my product, here's my service, like this guy up here in company A. There was a study done, I think it was in 2019 or something. They took service companies and they took service companies who only sold one service, like gutter cleaning, for example. And they took that and they divided it into 3 packages. So same service, just 3 different levels of service. And those companies increased, get this, increased their revenue by 75% in 1 year just by going from 1 package to 3 packages. 75% increase in revenue, almost double in 1 year. And it makes sense because think about this. If somebody comes to you and says, this is what I have to offer, yes or no, versus I've got this and this and this to offer you, which one do you want? Well, it changes the conversation completely because no longer is it a yes or no conversation, it's which one should I buy? Okay. And so that's why it's so important to have more than one offering for whatever you're doing. And then every once in a while, one person will buy your super high ticket whiz bang thing. And that increases your profit a lot. And I've had friends that have done this. They'll have like my friend who has a carpet cleaning company. Um, he has a really expensive package. It doesn't cost him that much more to deliver. And he's had 2 or 3 people buy it. Well, that was probably a year and a half ago. But he's had people buy it, and it's really cool because it increases his overall profit. John says packages are the best. Yes, packages are amazing. Literally, whenever I started selling packages in my company, we doubled our revenue in 3 months. So I just gave you an example of how somebody doubled their revenue or no, they had a 75% increase in a year. We actually doubled our revenue in 3 months by starting to sell packages. I was shocked. And I wasn't even very good at sales. I'd never done sales before in my life. So if you increase your average ticket by 15%, which honestly you could easily do by using this method, we've increased our frequency, we've increased our referrals, we've now increased our average ticket, and that takes us all the way up to $912,000 in revenue. Okay, so we're almost hitting $1 million, and we've not spent more money on marketing. We've not hired an expensive marketing agency. We haven't done all these things. We just use our brains. I love my friend Josh says you make more money with your brain than with your back. That's a writer downer. You make more money with your brain than with your back. So just by using our brain, we've increased our revenue now by over $300,000 in this example. And again, I mentioned we went from $8,500 to $34,000 in a matter of 12 months just by basically using my brain. And then we went from that same 8,500 to almost 70,000 in a matter of 4 years. And most of that was brain work. It wasn't just brawn and all that. All right, so let's move on to the last one, and then I've got some really cool things that I want to show you guys. We'll wrap up close to 7, and I've got some really cool giveaways for you guys tonight. So I'm super excited to share those with you. So let's talk about price. Okay. Now this applies mostly if you do have a service. You can use it for products too, but it's based mostly on supply and demand, which can be extremely powerful. So have you ever noticed how the price of everything has been increasing the last few years, right? Gas, groceries, insurance. So everybody needs to raise their prices, and many times we are charging less than we should, less than market rates, or we at least have some room for a little bit of inflation, and we'll talk about how to do this. Now, here's something. As business owners, many times we have a hard time raising our prices because of a mental block. We feel bad. We're too emotional about it. When in reality, if you raise your prices, if you charge more um, for these things, whatever you offer, it actually empowers you to serve your customers at a higher level. And how can I say that? Well, you're going to be less stressed out, so you're going to be in a better frame of mind to serve to start with. If you have employees, you'll be able to give better employee benefits. You'll be able to pay higher wages, which reduces the churn of your staff, which is hugely important to your service. You're going to uh, increase status for your employees because they work at the premium provider. With my cleaning company, we were literally one of the most expensive companies in the entire area. But we did a great job, and people could see our reviews online, and so they knew it was worth it. You can also use more money for advertising if you want to. You don't have to, but you can. Or you might just want to buy a hot tub or jet ski or go on vacation with your family, and that's awesome too. Okay. So let's talk about how we can raise our prices. Um, if you have a service, especially, your prices shouldn't necessarily be the same all the time. They can change a little bit, and I'll show you why. A lot of companies wear it as a badge of honor that they're booked out 2 months in advance during the busy season. I've literally talked to people recently who are like, we stay booked out, we've got a waiting list that's a month long or 2 months long or whatever. But that's a really bad thing because if people can't do business with you, then it's likely you're not charging enough, or you need to hire. You need better systems and processes in your company. And it's wonderful that people want to do business with you so much, but you're just one person, and what if something happens? I mean, God forbid, like you can't service that much demand forever and ever and ever and ever and ever until Jesus comes back. So you need a different way to do it and a different way to look at it. So you could easily be leaving tens of thousands of dollars on the table by being understaffed, not being booked out, a month or two in advance. So what you want to do is during the busy season, let's say that the holidays are coming up and that's when you're like the busiest, right? You can actually raise your prices by about 20%, even if it means that you get a little bit less deals. But as long as your schedule stays full a week or 2 weeks at the max, then you should be charging 15 to 20% more. Okay, so you take your prices now, your regular prices, and you just raise them up. And then when the demand starts to go down again, all you do is you bring your prices back down to the regular rate where you want them to be, and begin to book jobs. And what's cool about this is, let's say that somebody calls you during the busy season and is 20% more, and they're like, oh no, I'll just wait, or that's more than I wanted to pay. And then once busy season dies down, you bring your prices back down to your normal level. Again, I'm not saying to discount your prices. I actually don't want you to discount them. As service businesses, we discount stuff way too much, and we just don't make enough profit, and it's stressful. So you have to learn how to inflate your prices and then bring them back down where you want it to be. And what's cool about that is you can call, let's say, Larry, who didn't book his service during busy season because it was more expensive. Call him back and say, hey, I wanted to let you know we can actually get you on the books for this week, and it's going to be a lower rate than it was last month. And Larry's like, oh yeah, that sounds great. Let's do that. So you can actually win more business that way because your prices are elastic. And this right here, this can actually double the profits of your company all by itself. Here's an example. So let's say that as a service company, you have a 20% margin. So let's say if you do $100,000 in 1 year, then you get to keep $20,000 of that. Well, company B charges 20% more while all their fixed costs are the same, right? So labor, trucks, supplies, whatever, all that stays the same. Then when you increase the prices by 20% and you had a 20% margin, does the profit increase by 20%? Think about that for a second. If you've got a $100,000 a year company and you have a 20% margin and you raise prices by 20%, does your profit increase by 20%? No, it actually doesn't. It actually increases by 100%, because if you're bringing home $20,000 in profit in 1 year, and then you raise that, it's to another 20%, or you raise prices 20%, your fixed costs are the same. That adds another $40,000 in profit. So, or another 20,000, I'm sorry. So now your profit's 40,000. So that's double what it was. So when you raise prices and you practice elastic pricing, it actually has a huge impact on your profitability. And so, similar packages do something similar. Whenever you have high perceived value that doesn't cost you a lot to deliver, has a huge impact on your profitability. And again, you can take better care of your family, your employees, and your customers whenever you're more profitable. So it's kind of a mind bomb, right? If you raise prices, your profit goes through the roof. It's not just in conjunction with how much you raise prices. All right, so we already talked about this a little bit. So, so just a recap. We literally, all we did today is we used our brain a little bit, and we took a business that's doing $600,000 in revenue, and we put them past the $1 million mark just by increasing these 4 money levers by 15%. And these 4 money levers already exist in every single business. So all you have to do is use your brain and think, people are already buying from me. How can I get them to buy from me more often? What scripts can I use to get them to give me referrals, refer their friends and family? How can I bundle my services and create 3 different packages or products? Same thing with products. How can I create different product packages and have high perceived value that doesn't cost me a lot to deliver and increase my profit? And then how can I practice supply and demand pricing if it's appropriate for your business? This doesn't apply to everyone, but if it's appropriate for your business, how can you use supply and demand to increase your profit as well? So pretty amazing, right? You can literally double your profit, increase your revenue by a ton, and double your profit just by focusing on these 4 levers. So again, frequency, referrals, average ticket, and pricing. So I will stop there. And real quick, I have some freebies for you guys. Maria says she's ready for the Rainmaker campaign. I'm excited for you, Maria. Maria actually just joined our program, and she's gonna. We're getting her started tomorrow, and so we're gonna be building out a lot of these systems in her company, which is gonna be so much fun. I love doing stuff like this. Um, but real quick, do you guys have any questions or any comments about the material tonight? Do you have questions around how to implement some of these things, or maybe the technology? And as I mentioned, we use Go High Level in our program. So real quick, I promised you guys I was gonna give you some freebies. So let me go ahead and pull those up. So um, real quick, I'm going to throw this link in the chat, and I want you guys to go here. And this is the most amazing guide. This is literally 60 profit producing ideas, all based on FRAP. So it's 15 different ideas for each letter for frequency, referrals, average ticket, and pricing. 15 different ideas for a total of 60 of scripts and different things that you can start using in your business right away. So you don't have to break your brain thinking about this. So I'm going to put this in the chat, and then you guys can go and download this. Okay, and it's super, super powerful. And I think you'll really benefit from it. And just sit down, and even if you just pick one or two to start with, just start to think about, okay, how can I implement this in my business right away? How can I implement this in my conversations with people as I sell my products, if I'm doing events? How can I use my brain to increase the amount of times people are buying from me? Okay. Um, and then finally, I'm going to put one more link in here. And I don't want to overwhelm you guys, but I wanted to just deliver some amazing value. And there's a really cool software that we've just come out with that's completely free and actually tracks your financials for you. It tracks your average ticket. It tracks your revenue curve in your business, so you can see like when your natural buying cycle is. So maybe you tend to sell a lot during the summer, but then it kind of falls down in the fall, or whatever the case may be. It's going to show you that, and it helps you track your goals. You can actually go in there and set a goal for your business, track it, and it's really amazing. So I'll play this quick video for you guys just to show you what it's about, and then you can go here and set up your free account. It's even got a FRAP calculator that shows you what your specific business would look like if you were to increase FRAP by 5, 10, 15%, and it'll show you what that actually looks like, and it'll really inspire you to want to take action. So let me play this video for you guys.
Hey, did you hear the news?
Oh, I can't hear it. Can y'all hear it? You can hear it? Okay. I don't know why I can't hear it, but okay.
As of this moment, right now, if this video is still up, the battle plan software is actually free, which is crazy, right? If you need to understand how to make more money, understand your company's revenue curve, you want to build a battle plan to close your gap, have all the nerdy math done for you, plus get a weekly email from the system that says, hey, you need 7 new customers to be on pace to close your gap. Hey, the next week, you need 11 new customers to be on pace to close your gap. This system will tell you when you need to hire people in advance. It's got a FRAP calculator in there. If you don't know what that is, just trust me, you really want it. And for a limited time, it's free. It's really valuable. It's easy to set up. Just make sure you create your account by clicking the button below on this page. And there's more information too. Take advantage of it while you still can. Don't sleep on this, because math is the path. And as nerdy as math is, it is like a golden ticket to freedom when you get it organized. See you on the inside.
Okay, cool. So I hope you guys can see the value of that. So it's an amazing free tool, completely free. It'll always be free. and you can use it to really track on your business goals this year. And it's super, super powerful. I love too how it'll send you an email every week, and based on your average ticket and how many clients you need or how many products you need to sell to meet your financial goals, it'll actually email you every Monday and say, hey, this is how many new clients you need this week. And it really actually relieves your brain a little bit, like, okay, all I have to do this week to keep tracking on my goals is just to get 2 new customers, and so I know I need to get 5 leads or whatever, 10 leads. And so it's really, really helpful. So I encourage you guys to use that as well. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to email y'all the presentation, the FRAP presentation I did just now, so you can have that as a reference for the future. But just to wrap up really quick, this stuff really, really works. And again, it transformed my business like incredibly fast. I mean, just ridiculously fast. When I go and look back at our history, I'm amazed at how fast it happened. It's because we took action on selling packages, raising our prices, having good follow-up systems, and all of that. So, if you do want help with any of this, if you'd like some hand holding and done for you implementation, because I know how hard it can be to do some of this by yourself. One advantage that I had in my company is that I had a background in digital marketing. So when I started the cleaning business, it was honestly easier to grow because I was able to do a lot of things that my competition didn't know how to do and leverage the technology. And so, if that stresses you out and you'd like help and you want hand holding and you want some encouragement and accountability and just coaching and clarity, then we do have a program that does that for you, where we set a lot of these things up for you and we build FRAP into your business and really get you going. And then we actually teach you how to maintain it on the back end. What I like to say is, there's a saying, give a man a fish and feed him for a day, teach a man to fish and feed him for a lifetime. So what we do is we actually give you several fish to get started. We make sure you're getting clients right away, and then we teach you how to fish on the back end. So it's really, really great. Something I'm really excited about doing. Sharon's asking if we have any clients in the UK. I don't currently, but I'm definitely open to it. And honestly, these principles apply anywhere in the world. Like it's like the Bible. I mean, God's word, thankfully, is based on principle, and so these principles absolutely will work anywhere in the world, especially for any type of service business. But that's a great question. So, but if you guys, if you are interested in moving forward or getting some more hand holding, let me know. Just send me a message, and I'll be happy um, to jump on a call with you and kind of go over what that looks like. So, but thank you guys so much for jumping on with me today. You're so, so welcome, Sharon. And so glad that you came. And thank you for bearing with us. It's 1 o'clock in the morning now. I'm so humbled that you're on here with us. So look forward to hopefully seeing you on the Goshen calls. Sharon and I are in another group together. So it's really awesome. But bless you guys. And if you have any questions, always feel free to email or text me, and I'm happy to help. I'm here to serve you guys. So we'll talk soon. Bye.